You shouldn't worry about anything. I know that's a far stretch. Why worry about nothing and you worry about everything? So someplace in the middle and you'll do fine. You'll do fine. I'd go back and watch the video of Josh Kim, his 18-minute exit when he turned 21 on his 21st birthday. He was here in the drawing room of the main house, and he said 95% of the things I worried about never happened. Mr. Peña was absolutely accurate. Absolutely accurate. Get out there to the extent that you follow all the steps and you really go after it. You don't have to come out like that, but you've got to come out in aggression. You know, you've got to show some aggression. Didn't perform as well in the second round as they did the first round because they had run out of gas a little bit. But it's not that hard. It isn't. It's not anywhere near as hard as that, and it shows. Now, you know, this is your date with destiny. Now, some of you know Gabriel in another scene, or he looks a little different. And that's when he left here from Dundee Airport, going back, and his life changed. Not that it's such a big deal to rent a plane to go back to fucking Switzerland. It's not a big deal. Probably 20 grand. 20 grand here, 20 grand back. But he certainly wasn't in the position to do that before he started QLA, for sure. And I'm not telling you the end-all, be-all is to be able to, you know, planes and cars. But for the young kids, normally it's planes and cars and girls. Unfortunately, even if you're married. And some of the guys actually think they're better looking when they got rich. No, they're not better looking. I mean, because, you know, money and a rich kid is like, they'll be on you like flies on shit. I mean, like flies on shit. I mean, and to the extent that you like that, and most guys do like it. You know, it's all you're going to think it's like all your birthdays came at once. And it's hard to stay focused. I mean, I've been through it. And even towards the end of my tail end of that, and I knew Sally, I mean, it's hard to stay focused, even when you got a pretty wife. Now, Sally said there's a reason why I have not been on a trip by myself in 30 years. I haven't been across the street in 30 years by myself. Sally always travels with me, always. So, comments, questions about the boxing before we move on? Sir.
Could I have sold you by not having the insurance?
No. I mean, it's like 4 or 5 people aren't here this week because their visas either got canceled and it's always from India or Bangladesh or someplace. It's not Wisconsin or Boston or, you know, and some Russia. And if they wanted to be here, and they paid. I mean, you know, we have people that have paid 5 years ago that still haven't been here. And, you know, if it was important to them, they would have figured out a way. Somehow the monk got here. He's my new standard of excellence, you know. And so, and he didn't box. He didn't want to hurt anybody. He didn't want to hurt anybody. And I'm pretty sure he could have hurt somebody. But we've had Golden Glove guys here that don't box. We've had, you know, Seventh Dawn, this and that and the other thing that don't box. But it's not so much as it's good fun. It's a good release. And nothing you're going to do, even if you follow the steps as strongly as I did, is going to be anywhere near as strenuous as what we saw in there. You know, not all the boxing was pretty, but it's you know, put forth the effort. Lard ass here didn't box, and he's, you know, busy figuring out new ways to spend his money. Another mentee there with the CEO of NEOM, which is Klaus Kleinfeld's deal, the $500 billion deal that is now grown to over $2 trillion. The guy on the right is my mentee on that picture, and the guy on the left on that picture, a Dutch guy. And I say if you speak Arabic, you should go to Saudi Arabia and be part of the NEOM team project. French, Haiti, not anymore. Spanish, Cuba, there's a lot of Spanish-speaking countries because there are opportunities and specifically designed for people to speak those languages in those countries, not here. Now, the Davos crowd, which Klaus was a part of, prostitutes gather in Davos. The highest-priced prostitutes in the world follow these events around. And one of my mentees, who just exited her aesthetic surgery, plastic surgery roll-up, is one of the highest priced escorts in the world. So we've rolled up escort agencies. We've rolled up brothels. We've rolled up whorehouses. That's TK's little house. He still hasn't moved out to a big house yet. That's his office, my various sayings around the walls. Right now, for a lot of you, the bridge is too far from you to go from a coward to a warrior. The bridge is too far. You worry about too many things. You're not going to be one of the fastest out of the gates for the QLA race if you worry about it. You shouldn't worry about anything. I know that's a far stretch. Why worry about nothing and you worry about everything? So someplace in the middle and you'll do fine. You'll do fine. I'd go back and watch the video of Josh Kim, his 18-minute exit when he turned 21 on his 21st birthday. He was here in the drawing room of the main house. And he said 95% of the things I worried about never happened. Mr. Peña was absolutely accurate. Absolutely accurate. I heard you had 3 full-time jobs during the pandemic. How did you get it all done? I work from home, and I told all 3 employers I couldn't complete my projects because of supply chain. By the way, that's the excuse for everything now, supply chain. So you're a liar. And he said, no, I prefer opportunists. My son, who's a supply chain expert, said that 95% of the supply chain excuses are lies. Netflix insiders describe a culture shift to fear-based decision-making, execs stretch them thin, and belt tightening amid layoffs and subscriber losses. I said this in February 2020, that it was going to change management. We were going to lose trillions of dollars in productivity, and that's exactly what's happened. High-performing managers set harsher targets for people who work under them, a new study found. They actually had to pay money. Mark Zuckerberg told Meta staff he's upping performance goals to get rid of employees who shouldn't be here. Amazon manager told staff to collect donations if they wanted to keep buying cereal at their office. Google employees who used to work at Amazon complained to each other just how frugal their former employer was. No second monitors, no MacBooks, and splitting one bagel between 2 people at an office meeting. Now, this is the thing that reminds, I went and placed this because this reminds me of you guys. 2 hillbillies walk into a restaurant while having a bite to eat. They talk about their moonshine operations. Suddenly, a woman at a nearby table who is eating a sandwich begins to cough. After a minute or so, it becomes apparent that she is in real distress. One of the hillbillies looks at her and says, can you swallow? The woman shakes her head, no. Then he asks, can you breathe? The woman begins to turn blue and shakes her head, no. The hillbilly walks over to the woman, lifts her dress, yanks down her drawers, and quickly gives her a right butt cheek a lick with his tongue. The woman is so shocked that she has a violent spasm and the obstruction flies out of her mouth. As she begins to breathe again, the hillbilly walks slowly back to his table. His brother said, you know, I heard of their Heimlich maneuver, but I never seen one. That's your knowledge of QLA today. So if you prepared like you're supposed to, and you have these kind of questions, then there's something seriously wrong with your power of retention. Seriously wrong. Most people have the will to win. Few have the will to prepare. I know Bobby Knight. We don't need this. Don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one. Now, any questions about anything? We're going to start with the chairman again, and we're going to go through it in more detail this time. And we're going to go through the well, I don't call it role playing because I play both roles. I'm the accountant. I'm the you. I'm the motivated seller, I'm the you. I'm the chairman, I'm the you. I'm the CEO, because that way you hear the exact right words. When you do the role playing, you gravitate towards what's more in your comfort zone, the wrong words. So then you go out there and you practice the wrong words. So you're going to hear it, the highest probability of what the potential chairman is going to say to you, the highest probability of what the CFO is going to say to you, the highest probability what the partner at E&Y is going to say to you. And then what your response is supposed to be. Now, my responses will be abbreviated vis-a-vis the templates you have, or will have in a few days. But it's kind of a shrunken down template. I don't need 15, 20 words to explain what I want from them. And we give you 15 or 20 words because it's going to, you'll feel more comfortable because you want to explain more. And people that have high self-esteem, high self-confidence give short, curt answers. And that's not woke or politically correct now. So you're going to stretch it out a lot longer than it needs to be. Everybody understand what I just said? Okay. You've heard more than one. Anybody have any comments about Peter's second gig? Anything? Yes, sir.
His 2 deals. What were the deal sizes?
Okay. One was 12 million and one was, 15 million. The banks were willing to put up roughly 88% of the total purchase price on the first deal. The bank wanted roughly $1 million cash, euros. He didn't have any money. He didn't ask any of his board members, and none of his board members volunteered. The CFO, while he was playing golf with some of his buddies, told some of his buddies about the deal, and so his buddy said, well, you need €1 million. Well, let me look at the deal. So he went and looked at the deal. Of course, the CFO is his buddy, and the CFO had put together the numbers. So he had a high comfort level, level of comfort. The guy said, after not too much consternation, said, I'll put up the €1 million. But the real kicker is he only took 6% equity. I'm telling you, in 53 years, at that time, in 48 years, I'd never seen it. And 5 years later, in 53 years, I've never seen that happen in my entire career. where the guy put up all the money and only took 6%. You've heard a couple of people already say, not the least of which of myself, they put up all the money, they take 80 or 90%. And private offices will take 80 or 90%. Private equity will take 80 or 90%. Venture capitalists will take 80 or 90%. Hedge funds will take 80 or 90%. All about the same. He took 6. And at that time, we were still on the, where I got weekly reports from the mentees. And I told Peter at the time, you should run like a thief in the night. And if you don't go to church, you should start going. Yes, sir.
What would be a more realistic percentage?
At least 60%.
For the 1 million.
60. When 100% of the equity is put up by one person, minimum 60 to 90%. Minimum. Now, I put up all the money and I give you nothing. And I tell the kid, a young kid is naive, is stupid. I'll say, but you can claw back 20%, meaning you can earn 20%. Over 5 years, you have to meet these ROIs, return on investment. In the first year, 15%, 17%, 18%, 19%, and 20% ROI, and you can have 20% equity. I've never seen anybody meet one of the hurdles, let alone all 5. Again, I've been doing this 53 years. But you agreed just to get the money. And somebody, not like me, because I'm kind of a grandfather now, but you would accept it like you brushed your teeth because you found somebody who's willing to give you all the money, and that's all you're focused on. Okay, so I'm raving, pounding my chest. I spoke at, University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School of Business. I said, the best deal I ever saw. And then when I get back home, he slams another deal on me, which is better than the first deal, where he got 2 million euros for 8%. Of course, it was easier getting the 2 million for 8 because he had just seen somebody put up $1 million for 6. Again, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was drug money. I mean, something's not right. The world has not changed that much. I could be so out of sync. But it was just these two guys. Actually, it was a partnership put up 8 million. So it was 2 guys that put up 2 million and one guy for 8% and one guy had put up $1 million for 6%. And then Peter was off and running. Now he downplays it. He was lucky. No, he wasn't fucking lucky. He must have been in the zone. On athletics, when you're in the zone, you can't do hardly anything wrong. Well, he was in the fucking zone. Plus, he practiced. He went to improv. He practiced. He went to Toastmasters. He practiced. And 2 times, his chairman has stood up for him in the board meeting when the other board members wanted, what the fuck do you know? I can't overemphasize how important this fucking chairman is. Most of you in this room, based on your experience now, will get thrown out. That doesn't mean you're going to get thrown out 5 days from now. But based on your experience now, it's being a lamb to slaughter. Okay, so those are the first 2 deals. He then, and the reason why they were so expensive is because he bought the buildings. What do I tell you not to do? Don't buy the fucking buildings, right? Well, there was the only deals he could find. And he was desperate, as he shows, even today when he talks about it. And that's why you start 1.5 million, 2 million, 2.5 million, like Andres, which we're going to see his numbers tomorrow. And then now he's got a property portfolio, part of which he's bought 2 hospitals with buildings, and he's built 10 hospitals. And so he's got 2 or 3 portfolios, and he's exited 3 different times, and he's pulled out money in the tens of millions all 3 times. And he's pretty happy. But now he's worried about Russia coming into Hungary.